Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney, James the Fat Man Stevens, Ryan, who the fuck was that? And the old guy decided to visit the studio again. Looks like he's becoming a regular.
I'm a regular now. You're going to actually have to say my name.
Yeah.
You can do my drop.
Yeah, I'll do it on the way out. Too much work. I got to hit a couple of buttons. And
why do I put up with this?
You mean you're lazy?
Yes.
Okay.
So there hasn't been...
Getting you to say it on recording.
I've said it in recordings
He's
before.
Always said it. He's admitted that since he was a child.
Yeah. I took my lesson from Scrooge McDuck where he said work harder, not smart. Work smarter, not harder. I screwed that one up.
Trying to get it right. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
So
yeah, the first way has always been my motto.
Yeah.
So the most interesting thing in video game news is Microsoft has discontinued the year subscription to Xbox Live.
Oh,
As opposed to what?
interesting. Mine just renewed.
Well, see, I was going to say that is because I checked my renewal and it still has the year subscription on it. So because allegedly this Christmas or this November, December, the new Xbox Series X is supposed to come out. So they've canceled a couple of Xbox models along with allegedly getting rid of the year subscription. The rumor has it what they're going to do is they're going to cancel they're going to basically make gold for free and then make you, if you want to do certain things, make you get Game Pass Ultimate or whatever.
Interesting.
So they're ditching the subscription for Live in favor of just a Game Pass thing?
I don't see. That's the problem. Is that speculation on my part? They haven't said why they're removing the year subscription, unless the fact that they need more money because it's more money for them to do it every 3 months instead of yearly, like I've been doing for nearly 20 years.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'll still pay it. Don't get me wrong. I've actually been thinking about going to Game Pass Ultimate because for like $200 a year, it gives me access to 200 and 100 and something games, and some of them are first party titles.
I'll tell you what though, my girlfriend has a Game Pass, and yeah, there's a few things on there that I otherwise wouldn't have tried if it wasn't on Game Pass. Ones that I'm not going to go drop 30, 40, 50 bucks on. But oh shit, it's free here. Even if it sucks, I can just delete it, you know. But it's not the amount of the ones that you would play. You know what I mean? Like the selection, it seems big because it's a big number, but what you would actually play, unless you're one of those guys that just plays everything, to me wasn't worth the subscription base.
Oh, really? So that it includes, say, like Halo and then Bob's House of Paintball type of thing.
I mean, that's basically what it is. You know, yeah, it's got a couple of AAA titles on there, but the rest of it is, you know, a lot of indie games and things like that, which look are great. And if that's what you're into, you can play so many different damn titles. But for me, just look, I like the huge stuff. I mean, I buy the new console every time because I want to play the latest and greatest, you know, video games.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, man, I'm never thought I'd actually say this out loud, especially to you. I'm really considering that PS5, man. You know, it seems like the last few years. Listen, I'm a lifelong Xbox. I get pissed off at people who buy Sony. I just yell "Buy American" at them, and they look at me like a psychopath. But
you're not.
Xbox for the last couple of few years here has been leaning real hardcore towards this like community experience, and everything is about the multimedia, and you can do so much other things other than gaming on this console. It's like, motherfucker, I bought this to game, you know, and PlayStation seems to be the only one who's like, look, we're a gaming company. This is what we do.
Honestly, I'll still probably go with the Xbox. I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, I totally dig it. Part of it for me is no matter what they do with the PlayStation remote, it physically hurts. I can't play it for long periods of time. And then people tell
so many people. Sorry, go ahead.
And people tell me, oh, you can get Xbox-like remotes, but none of them have the build quality of first-party controllers. Like
I agree.
and that's
But
my
as far as
problem.
the ergonomics of it, where the button layout is. I mean, the last, Xbox One X versus PS4, right? Or even just Xbox One versus PS4. The processing was the same, the computing was the same, so it wasn't like, I had to choose this if I want to play the better graphics. They were equal. It was the first time in the console wars where it was just like, oh, okay, well, whichever one you've gotten used to, just pick that one. But the controller has always sold me for Xbox because it is just a superior. I still have yet to have a controller that's that good. But shit. I mean, you can port all kinds of controllers, to that thing. Although, man, have any of you guys tried the Xbox Elite controller?
I've been off and on for the last couple of years considering getting them because I've heard how amazing they are. And then every time I go to consider pulling the trigger on an expensive controller, I keep reading how poor the build quality is I'm not spending $100 on a controller that's going to break on me.
Yeah, shit. I think it's more like 150. It might be 100 now, but
yeah, I was gonna say I think they're a little bit more than that.
I just couldn't justify the cost, but I wouldn't mind it.
Right.
I mean, I'll probably just stay with Xbox. I mean, because when the PlayStation 4 was first coming out and Microsoft said you couldn't buy used games, I was legitimately considering, okay, I'll switch. It's not that big of a deal because I like buying used games. 95% of my games are used unless it's a first-party title I want. Like Halo, for example, I'll always buy brand new just because I want that experience.
And there's certain games that I've been looking forward to for so long that, the next iteration of Fallout or Elder Scrolls, I'm gonna be playing that the first damn day.
Fucking I've been the games I'm looking for right now are Cyberpunk, which comes out in November or December. And
wasn't that supposed to come out like a year ago also, by the way?
Yeah. It's been pushed back a bunch of times, which is good or bad. I mean, in theory, it's good because it gives them more time, unless it's Duke Nukem Forever, which was supposed to come out in 1997, which came out like 5 years ago. So, your mileage may vary. And I highly doubt any of you actually remember this game because none of you guys are originally PC gamers. There was a game called...
Hey. Sure was.
Well, there's a video game called Vampire the Masquerade. It's based off a card game or something, and it came out two of them came out when I was a kid, and the new one is supposed to come out in December.
Huh.
Nice.
And I can see there's moss growing over on the old guy's microphone.
Well, just okay. Yeah, we did kind of go on a.
Not my bellywick. That's all.
Well, we did kind of just do a full-on tangent on video games.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Well, I know Ryan likes audiobooks. And so I had two audiobooks. One I just finished and one I just bought to see if he's listened to them. Or I talked about it last week, was an audiobook by, is it E.B. Sledge about Peleliu and Okinawa in World War II.
Oh, yeah.
And I just got The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. It's like 57 hours. It's like 10 parts.
Jesus.
Damn.
That's kind of the
there's a lot to go through there.
That's the
I was just gonna say, are they starting at the beginning?
Yes. That's the original
obviously
book that after the war he compiled, and everybody kind of went to as the go-to book as to what was it all about as he started getting more and more information, and so it's a more of a documentary style. And
okay,
because it starts out talking about like Hitler's family and his brothers and sisters, and like Hitler was basically a lazy bum spudging off of everybody, and really wanted to be an artist, so he didn't go do any schoolwork. And it's just all this background knowledge that I had a tiny idea of, but it's really cool to actually listen to. It talks about why when he went to jail for Mein Kampf for starting was the something rebellion. I forgot the exact term. So it's super in depth, which should be super interesting.
Well, we'll see what happens when it's done.
It's one of those subjects where you learn a little bit about it, and all it does is make you want to be like, wait, what?
Yeah, let's find out more.
What else happened? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've seen so many damn World War II documentaries now.
Yeah, I've seen so many. It's like I just
So speaking of which, Greyhound has been released. I believe it was Disney Plus. I watched it on. It's the new.
Speaking of Nazis, Greyhound.
It's called.
Oh yeah, Greyhound.
Greyhound. It stars Tom Hanks.
On Apple.
Maybe it was Apple.
Yeah, you said Apple Plus.
Oh, gotcha. I
Apple
thought you were talking like, speaking of Nazis, Greyhound buses are like
No, Greyhound buses have nothing to do with this.
IBM does though.
Okay.
But good effort.
Like, that was a weird segue.
Good connection. I like that. No, it has to do with the movie starring Tom Hanks, and he actually wrote the script. Actually, it was well done. It's about one destroyer. There's an area during World War II when the supply ships were coming over from the East Coast going into London. Actually, Liverpool, I believe it was at the point. I may be wrong about that. And they usually had one or two destroyers go along with them and try to defend off the wolf pack, hence the name Greyhound. And it's basically done through the eyes of the captain of the main destroyer, who's charged of trying to get the majority of the supply ships to England. And it actually was done very well. It was very entertaining.
Okay. You know what? I have not been steered wrong by, no pun intended, Tom Hanks doing World War II shit.
Okay.
You know, I was
going to
he
say
did
World
Band
War.
of Brothers also. Wasn't he producer also?
Yes.
I believe that's the case.
Yes.
And of course,
Who would have thought the guy from Bosom Buddies would have made really good World War II movies?
and no kidding, huh?
A movie.
Shit, like, some would argue the best was Saving Private Ryan, and Band of Brothers. Damn, that was a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if anybody is looking to watch anything about World War II, Band of Brothers is where to go. Saving Private Ryan was good, but he really shined in Band of Brothers. So
he
wasn't in it, but
the only thing I have against Band of Brothers is Jimmy Fallon's in it. Every time I see that scene with Jimmy Fallon, it just takes me out of it.
Out of 40 hours or whatever of not that bad.
Hey, it took me
of TV, the one Jimmy Fallon thing throws you.
Hey, it took me a long time to get used to David Schwimmer, so give me a break. I'm slowly warming up to that scene.
Yeah, see, David Schwimmer threw me way more than Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, but I didn't want to
even really like David Schwimmer in that.
Well, it's the first time I saw it. It's like, well, fuck, I don't want to watch Ross for 8.5 hours.
Oh, but then he was a dick for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh, this is great.
That's true. I've been really digging World War II stuff. Obviously, if I'm just purchased a 56 or 57 to 60 hour audiobook.
Yeah, no kidding.
Which is weird. I was thinking about this because I get this look by people who listen to. Because I say I'm a fan of World War II, and everybody gives me this kind of like lopsu, like kind of what? So I was realizing, so what's your guys' favorite part of history? Because mine's always been anything encompassing around World War II. You guys have any favorite sections?
If I had to narrow it down, it's probably World War II. I mean, but fuck, man, that's maybe the Mongols, maybe Civil War. I mean, I love each of them. This is such a weird thing for me to be gushing over, but no, I am a history fan.
By the way, that's why I think it's weird.
I like the stories and the crazy shit that happened. It's just nutty. Like, whoa, we did that, huh? Like, as people. That's crazy.
Do you have a Twitter account, Ryan?
Fuck no. What?
Well, there was.
I agree with that. Although I have one.
Well, I have multiple Twitter.
Shit, I'm a masochist, man, but not that much.
Well, I have multiple Twitter accounts, but the only reason I'm asking is there's something called Jewish privilege or something like that popped up a couple of weeks ago, and you have people talking shit about Jews, but in the middle of it were these people's firsthand family accounts of the shit they went through. And I spent like an hour plus just reading people's stories about hiding from the Nazis and what the Nazis did to their family. And it was one of those things like, man, I hope somebody is saving these tweets. because it was like
Can you save the tweets?
you could screenshot them. I was on my phone, so I had no way to do it, but I'm assuming you could do it.
You can't screenshot on your phone.
Yeah,
Well, I'd rather save the text versus a screenshot of picture. You know, if that makes sense. I'd rather copy and paste versus
But
just take a picture.
You know what I heard on the radio?
Take sure it
Libtards
didn't
are the
happen.
only ones that copy and paste.
Repeat that.
Libtards are the ones who copy and paste.
Okay. I would still rather copy and paste because I actually have the actual text instead of a picture.
Somebody said that on 98 Rocks Facebook or Twitter, Instagram or some crap like that account. I don't know. They were talking about it this morning. I haven't heard that before, that libtards are the ones who copy and paste.
Yeah, never heard that.
web parents.
Libtards.
I just follow the internet rule of take sure it didn't happen.
It was. It
Yeah,
was.
there you go.
It was just one of those things that you don't get to read to the whole lot of first family accounts of what their family went through. So it was one of those things that was. It was just really cool
Now,
to
were
read.
these actual Holocaust survivors, or were these families?
These
or
were
what?
These were the family members of the Holocaust survivors, or people in Germany
So
who
they got them to
escaped.
talk.
That's kind of what my thought was, is like these are people who actually opened up and talked about it at some point during their life, and so their family members at this point were just retelling the stories.
Ah,
But it's
Yeah, that's a good thing about any sort of modern war is you do get way more of a human perspective. You know, you get into like the ancient stuff and you start losing track. I mean, you just hear numbers like oh, and you know, 1 million people died, and you're just like oh, that's crazy. But you lose that human perspective.
well, what's
You
it's
know, anything before videos or even like those letters coming back and forth in the Civil War or, you know, Revolution, something like that. You get that
Yeah.
like, oh, and this is what it was like on the front lines, my darling. And, you know, you get that human part.
So
All
one
those stories of the Holocaust and all that.
one of the things that brought it home to me from our American Revolution to the Civil War to World War II in Nazi Germany was actually walking the grounds these people walked, and
Yeah.
No kidding.
having the opportunity to do all of those, there is a feeling that you can't even describe. You know, you walk Cemetery Ridge, and it's like, you know, 50,000 people died in a matter of 2 hours. And it's just unbelievable.
I was thinking the only other experience I've had like that is watching on any of the beaches in Normandy. Getting a chance to go to like Omaha Beach, and it's just, when we were there, it was dead quiet. I remember thinking when we were sitting on the wall overlooking the beach, it's it was, you could hear a pin drop. It's like all the sound allotment for that space and time was used during World War II. It was scary.
Yeah, it's just you can't help it. You look at the view and you look at it and you go, how did these men do this? It's just
Really.
I had the same feeling.
They just did it.
That's exactly right. They just did it because it's unbelievable. I had the same feeling on Cemetery Ridge, same thing at Gettysburg. It's just, you look at this and you look what these guys did, and you go, I might have been a deserter. I don't know if I could have done
A conscientious objector.
what these men did. Unbelievable. And that is the way. That's one of the reasons I have so much trouble with, you know, destroying monuments. And I don't care if it's our country or some other country or whatever. And one of the big reasons I got to give Poland a lot of credit is that they're keeping the concentration camps open for people to come and walk in, so that what happened is never forgotten. And you know, one of the things in France is the American Cemetery. This is where all the men that died, well, not all, but majority of men who died in those landings that took place on D-Day are buried in the American Cemetery there. And it's just unbelievable. The feeling there is just amazing. And the French basically that's actually U.S. property. which is interesting in France. But to maintain that cemetery
that.
there, yeah. And it's just unbelievable. And so I recommend anybody any of you guys, if you haven't done it, anybody listening, take the time, walk into the areas where this took place, and I'm telling you, you're going to feel a feeling that you've never felt before.
Well, one of the reasons,
and not even doesn't even have to be in France or Germany or the Western Front. It could be stuff here at home, stuff in this country you can drive to.
Exactly.
Take your kids to and whatnot. It's one of the things we got is like, I can pick up and drive to Connecticut right now if I want to.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I was going to say, one of the reasons why I really wanted that audiobook by E.B. Sledge called With the Old Guard is he's one of the few people who in both those battles never got injured. But he talks the story about being in one of those, I forgot those boats I drove up on the beach.
Landing craft.
And the landing craft he was in didn't have the tailgate that dropped. So he actually had to jump over the side of it and run like hell. And so you have a first person account of what happened. Same reason why I like Saving Private Ryan, because it's so hard to imagine what's that when you read, this many people stormed the beaches of Normandy. Some had to climb a steep wall. You have no idea until you actually you read about it, and the guy's a good storyteller, or you see it on the medium of pictures.
Well, what's even crazier? The movie Dunkirk came out not too long ago, and well worth the look of that, because World War I was about as brutal as you get, and it was.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish trench warfare on fucking anybody.
Unbelievable when you start reading about World War I as well. So, yeah, again, I highly recommend. And Ryan, you're right on the money. All you have to do is drive to these places. We had an opportunity to go all the way up the East Coast, up to Washington, D.C., and we stopped at as many battlegrounds as we could. And
so I'll tell you what, I've been lately just up the ass of the revolution, because I didn't realize how little there was that I knew about our American Revolution.
Right.
The kind of the fun stories from back in the day, and you get all the bullshit, the Paul Revere's Midnight Ride and that sort of fantasy, just because good publicity, right?
Right.
But I made the mistake of watching Hamilton.
Right.
Because I put it on the Disney Channel.
Wait, watching what?
That's a good play.
Is it
Hamilton? Okay.
Hamilton,
the play. And holy shit, that thing is good. Like, I almost was like not digging it like halfway through, and then like the next day, all the songs are stuck in my head. I'm like, I really like that play. Damn, that was good.
Well, now I'm going to have to watch it with your recommendation.
I'm just wondering if it's like Cats, because I saw Cats in the theater and fell asleep. So is it going to be amazing?
No, you didn't.
I fell asleep halfway through it.
You fall asleep through anything, so you claim.
Cats is a very dull.
For one, it's comparing fucking apples and oranges.
Yeah, that's
it's just comparing. It's comparing the fact.
So Jonathan's not into musicals.
Is it comparing the fact? Is it exciting, or is it just I don't know. I've heard.
Here's the thing: is if you like the subject matter, it is fucking interesting, and it's got way more of a contemporary soundtrack than any sort of thing, which actually it throws you in the beginning because it's very much like a hip hop inspired soundtrack, which will throw you if you've just seen sort of traditional musical theater. But then you start getting like oh okay, this has utilitarian storytelling purposes also, and damn, it's good.
So you didn't see any of the things that made it controversial? Because I remember reading when it came out that there were some people who were really upset about something, and hell, if I remember what it was.
Aren't we in a stage where there's always somebody upset about something? Doesn't matter.
It was done with a very multicultural cast. As far as like they didn't pay any attention to like what race was playing what character, which obviously they're all white dudes. But,
I don't remember if that was, I swear I remember something about it being revisionist history, but that was such a long time ago that, hell, it could have been.
No, not really. I mean, way no more than any other story would have taken its liberties with just a historical movie.
Interesting.
Like that's what got me down the rabbit hole of the Revolution is like, oh shit, I didn't know any of these details. And, turns out, story pretty much accurate as far as the nuts and bolts of it need to be. And there was just a lot more going on, a lot more moves being made than you realize. And the timeline I think was way off on. But it's got me onto a Birth of the Nation kick.
How long is it?
Let's see, plus intermission. Well, intermission doesn't really count, but about 2.5.
That's not too bad. If I had time and I was inkling for something, I would watch it because as stupid as it sounds, there's it's 1776, a musical that came out many years ago. I always liked it because it was about writing the Constitution. Had the guy who played Mr. Feeney in it.
Yeah, this is very much about Alexander Hamilton and his Revolutionary War exploits, the Treasury of the United States, and the whole duel with Aaron Burr.
Oh, now I watched that Lincoln movie not that long ago, and I was actually pretty bored by that one. That wasn't very good. Did you watch that one, Rob?
Was that the one with Sally Fields and Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
I may have, but to show you how much I liked it, I don't remember it.
I never saw it.
Yeah.
So there's probably that answers that question.
So
a good clue as to what you thought of it.
What didn't you like about it, James?
It was boring and slow and very uninteresting.
Now, question for you. If this came out when we were in high school or a little older, would you have enjoyed it then?
No.
No, here's the reason I say that, because nowadays the movies that we thought were fast paced are slow. Like Terminator 2, it's a slow fucking movie if you actually watch it now. So my question on that was regarding, is it just because we're not used to slow paced movies? Because slow paced movies now are not even remotely as slow as movies were back 20 to 30 years ago. Because we're so used to movies that are bang, 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 bang. So that's one of the reasons I ask people when they say, is a slow movie? I said, compared to what? Like, But I knew I wasn't going to...
I mean...
It felt slow to him. How's that?
Let's see. Was it called Lincoln? Is that what it was called?
Yeah. I think it was just called Lincoln. Yeah, it came out not that long ago.
2012.
Was it 2012? Was it that long ago?
Yeah. Let's see. Directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Daniel Day-Lewis and Sally Fields.
Oh, yes, I do remember that movie, and James is right.
Yeah.
It was not good. I don't think the critics even liked it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't think they did either. And I was kind of excited for it because as a history buff.
Sorry, it's 150 minutes.
Movie. Yeah, it's a long ass movie.
I think it was one of those
2 hours, 20 minutes.
Just to give Daniel Day-Lewis a vehicle to be, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, yeah, well.
What was
get the behind the
what's
scenes
he done since then?
Never breaking character.
I think he retired.
Okay.
Because I remember hearing something about his process to take so much out of him.
These method actors, what can you do with them?
I mean, I don't know. He gets a pass from me because he did from There Will Be Blood, and
yeah, that was a damn good movie.
Yeah, every actor has one good movie in him.
My favorite line from There Will Be Blood is I drank your milkshake.
I mean, that's everybody's favorite line there.
Because it's such a non sequitur if you've never seen the movie.
Well, no, it is. They were explaining.
Well, I didn't realize
how. Yeah, no, he was explaining how if he's sucking up all the oil from his land, then he just gets all the profits.
So it had
and he was explaining it with a giant long straw into his milkshake.
So Lincoln had a budget of $65 million. Box office, it was $275.3 million, according to Wikipedia. So it more than made its money back. Because I remember that movie, everybody raving about it. I remember seeing the trailer going, yeah, I'm not paying $20 to see that movie.
Yeah, it was just a performance movie. Just to watch this guy throw on an acting clinic for a while.
Yeah, part of me really wants to see it, and then I'll watch clips off of YouTube for a movie, and I'm like, you know what, this is about as much as I needed to see.
Yeah.
It's Amblin Entertainment. Wow. Are there any movies coming out that you guys have seen that you're even remotely interested in?
Coming out.
No.
They've all been postponed or pushed to
Yeah,
pay-per-view.
Well, I mean, there's movies that have been coming out like that.
Ghostbusters.
That's the only one for me. But there's movies like that Greyhound, but what movie? Well, you said last week was supposed to be a theater movie, and
It was. Yeah.
Netflix just threw out a cool one called The Old Guard, based off a graphic novel that's not even that old, like 2017 or something.
Yeah.
But pretty interesting flick. I mean, if you folks are into the
Charlie
semi-fantasy stuff.
Yeah, I just watched that. It's a good movie.
So it's starring Charlie
It's pretty
Theron.
cool.
Yeah.
So it's Charlie Theron, Kiki Lane, my humble apologies, Marwan Kenzari.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce anybody else's name.
Good movie. She's she does most of her own stunts. She was injured in that movie. I was just reading that today.
Oh, she's a bad bitch for sure.
Oh man.
So 125 minutes. So it's not a short film. It's about average for modern movies though.
It's pretty fucking cool though. You don't mind sitting through it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I recommend it.
So The Old Guard is a 2020 American superhero film directed by Gina Prince by the Wood. Let's see. Andy of Something, Booker, Joe, and Nick are centuries-old warriors with regenerative healing abilities who use their vast experience to help people.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
My brother watched it, and he didn't really like it.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
you talking about Eric?
No.
Oh,
I'm assuming the other one.
which brother?
No, yeah, Jeremy. That's the one I
okay.
live with right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't like it?
No, yeah, he was like, I came out and he was sitting there watching, and he's like, man, this thing sucks.
Well, maybe he just wasn't
Okay.
into it that day, because I have to disagree. I
What-
thought it was well done.
What was the reasoning? Because I could see your other brother's reasoning for
I don't
not
know. I
liking it.
went and took a shower. I came out of the shower, and he was asleep. He didn't even finish the movie. So I'm like, all right,
Jeez.
whatever. Yeah.
Hey, some people
Like,
like
okay.
man, you know.
I dig
Yeah.
Charlize Theron though. I mean, she's always been a hell of an actress.
Yeah, no kidding.
However, she won't be in the next the prequel to her Mad Max movie. She won't
Yeah.
be in that one. I'm kind of bummed about
She's
that.
aged out. She's too old to play
Really?
a prequel. Well, yeah, I mean, I hate to say it.
Come on, they could CG her ass and make her.
That's the problem. They would have to if it's going to be the prequel. I mean, she's got to be a teenager.
They should make a prequel. They could make another sequel. I'll be honest. I'd stop with this prequel shit. Make a couple of. How about make 2 more movies? Then you can make a
Yeah,
prequel.
keep going. Just keep that timeline going. What the heck?
Well, I mean, because you got an actress who's within the time period where she could do it. You know, and she's honestly, Tom Hardy wasn't a major important role in that movie, in my
No,
opinion.
he really wasn't.
And Charlize Theron did a really badass fucking job. You got a badass actress. Make 2 more movies, and then you can make a prequel.
Well, they should have,
In my opinion,
kept it going, but it's too late now. There's too big of a gap.
I don't think so. She doesn't look that much older.
True.
And don't worry, John. In this town, you don't have to wait too long for a sequel, bro.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's I think it's
That
dead
is true.
based just on when it was released. But that's
Well, she keeps herself in great shape. She's got good genes. I mean, you're right to a degree, but there is a point. We all age out, unfortunately.
except for Gary Busey.
I got news for you.
Yeah,
Gary Busey always plays
Charlize
crazy.
Theron
Gary
is
roles.
Busey
definitely
just
gonna
married
be
a 20
super hot, like 70-year-old.
Yeah.
Well,
Didn't he just marry a 20-something year old?
probably, but he's crazy. Have you
Oh,
noticed?
my God.
Every character he's ever played in movies I've seen, he always plays a crazy character, except for the Buddy Holly story. So you don't have to look
Oh,
a certain.
God, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah. How can you miss it? His
Wow.
teeth are the size of chiclets.
Well, that's what
It's
happens
been
when
a
you abuse every drug and alcohol that there is and have about 15 different concussions. You don't have not many brains left.
I'm not 100% sure how much brain cells he's had.
Well, he had himself enough to be a star, and we're talking about him.
That's not really that hard. I think you just have to get lucky or blow the right person.
Well, Now you know how to get up in Hollywood, John.
Eh.
Yeah.
Where's the crickets?
Weren't you talking about casting couch last week?
Yeah,
Or
he
the other
was.
week?
Too bad. I'm stereotypically. That's true. How a lot of these people end up becoming celebrities and stars, but it's
Because
more.
people like us pay to go see them.
So,
Well, no, because it's like the music industry. With like back in the 80s, for example, nobody would have seen, like Motley Crue if it wasn't for the music company pushing them. You know, that's kind of how that.
well, you think the Monkees are any more an example? And they actually outsold
No
the Beatles
shit.
and
That's
records?
actually a great example.
Well, that's the thing about, because without the Hollywood system, all these actors would still be waiters and waitresses and bartenders and fluffers, and that's the thing. It's no matter the only time is now is a fact. There's so the way with independent films are now, you don't necessarily need the system. You just don't know if you can become rich without it.
Well, some people can. Some people can make a great living off of indie films. But the problem is, and the reason why people will still need big giant distribution houses is distribution. Yeah, you can put it online, but how many people are noticing? As opposed to you control all the advertising, getting out to the people, billboards, cell phone alerts, YouTube ads, all the fun shit is right there by Universal. Getting that name out there.
I'll tell you what, though, now in today's COVID period of time, the streaming services have it, and they're pumping out.
God.
They're pumping out whatever they can pump out.
This is one of those. If I go back in time and I get the almanac, I'm just going to remember like, I gotta invest in Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Right before the Rona.
And this is what I thought
before the Rona.
Yeah.
And this is what I thought may end up being not the death knell to the cinema industry, but what's going to turn into a more niche experience, a la like all these movie houses where you can get dinner and drinks. And
right.
Because at this point in time, I mean, I've got a 4K TV at my house. I've got 5.1 setup that's so loud it rattles dishes in my fucking kitchen. What else do you need besides the fact that you have that communal experience, which this is one of the things Ryan and I really agree on. And it's that, and besides that, I have everything else but the people.
Well, you may have to get used to that because AMC is already saying they may not be able to survive this.
But there's always going to be those people. I mean, dude, even during the Rona right now, people are still going to drive-ins. Drive-ins are making a comeback.
Exactly.
Because people still want to go out.
Yeah, get out of the house.
Even if it's just the people, get out of their house.
That's it.
Get dressed up kind of thing.
I think the same reason why movie theaters are going to stay around is the same reason why records are making a comeback, is they want the experience. Because if I'm going to watch a movie at home, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fucking pause it, do the dishes, pause it, put the kid to bed, pause it, do this. Versus if I'm paying $25 to $30 for a fucking movie, I'm going to buy popcorn, a big ass drink, and I'm just going to sit back and have fun.
You're shushing your girlfriend where you would never do it at home.
Well, yeah. I mean, there still is the movie experience. I mean, I miss the theaters, to be honest. I enjoyed that.
Wait a second. You don't shush Amber at home?
You know what, man? I'll tell you what, bro. It's not a hill I'm willing to die on.
Boy, that was a topic stopper.
Holy shit! Did you hear that? You got a bro out of him.
Whoa!
I know.
Yeah, it's not worth the constant beratement that it would take. At a movie theater, I can justify it.
Yeah, because at home you have pause.
But I mean, so I think it's going to stay around because.
We'll see. The problem is the financial burden. Like I said, AMC has already come out and they're taking such a hit.
And they don't, I mean, was it Disneyland? Disney's losing like $9 to $10 million a day by not having the parks open. And that's a huge portion of their revenue.
You know what? Fuck Disneyland. I'll tell you my financial burden is I can't find quarters for laundry. Because there's a fucking national coin shortage.
There is, and it's funny that you brought that up because I was going to talk about it. Some of the banks are actually paying you. It's not a whole lot, granted, but if you bring your change into the bank, you can actually get a couple of bucks. Instead of you having to pay them for it, they'll actually pay you for the change.
I'll have to look for my jar.
I was just reading the article. Yeah,
man.
So,
really?
But
Yeah.
I will pay fucking like 2 to 1 right now for quarters
So
just because I need to do laundry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
People are not going out and spending money, and their change is not exchanging hands. If you go into,
not to mention the mint is not really producing money the way that they could because their people are all out because of the Rona.
yeah, but I did read an article just yesterday saying that they have upped their production and distribution of quarters in particular, like tenfold.
I can
Damn, really?
Yeah,
I can see it now. Somebody's going to be sucking schwanz so they can do laundry. So for the quarters.
But seriously though, like you mentioned,
Where's
the
your
problem is
mind
people are
today?
not circulating these coins. So even if they pump a bunch more in there,
Oh, they'll still hoard
people
it.
got coins, but yeah, they're still going to hoard it.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
it's just like the people who for like 5 years from now are going to be still going through their hoard of as Ryan says, Rona TP. So it got so bad. A local store by me, I don't know where they got this, but it's this floral scented toilet paper that stinks. I've never smelled toilet paper with a scent before.
Probably because it was freshly
that's a little bit too
produced,
much for
and
me.
it's right out of the factory. And
It's
so
lavender.
well, okay. I mean,
It's
better
just-
than
it's
what do
just
you want,
weird.
pizza smell. I mean, come on.
Honestly,
It
yes.
sounds like the thing a 15th century French king would use.
Yeah, exactly.
Like King Louis the 13th would have been wiping his ass with lavender paper.
Yeah, probably.
May I have the
little
lavender?
He
too much.
probably did.
Probably
would not be
did.
surprised.
I'm probably not far off.
And smoking those rose petal tip cigarettes that they used to make in England.
Oh, God.
I don't know. That's the one thing out of this that what people hoard I thought was hilarious because the first thing was the toilet paper, and then there were the
all paper products. They started hoarding everything.
What was funny on Facebook, there started to be the daily TP report. You'd have somebody in my local area going, Safeway has TP, two
get
rolls
it
for
quick.
$1. Go. And then you hear somebody do something like, hey, is there any toilet paper in the local area? I'm tired of taking showers. It's like, well, hold on, pause. What? And then, because I remember it was a couple of years
Gotta do
ago,
what you gotta do.
or a couple of years ago, it was generators. Then I remember when I was younger, I think it was the anthrax scare. So the stuff to seal your windows was running out in duct tape. And what people hoard is just random. Nobody's hoarding like
people
Well,
candy.
hoarding
this
the coin
TPO doesn't have an expiration date.
No.
So, I mean, you could, it does theoretically, but as long as you keep it out of the sunlight.
And then people started hoarding canned goods, and it's
Yeah.
not like
I mean, well, look, that's generally a practical thing. You know, if you're just going to be stuck up for a little while, but the coins isn't a voluntary thing. It's not like people are throwing them under their mattress.
It's
Just that they're not out spending in these cash places, and they're not having exchange hands because they've used their card because of the Rona or their
Right.
Apple Pay, that kind of stuff
right.
has gotten huge lately.
And most of the stores are pushing that now because of the shortage. I think the Mint ought to come out with a COVID-19 coin.
Yeah, no kidding.
I really think they should because it'll commemorate the start of this
They
BS.
printed all that weird shit on the back of quarters. You can't throw
Yeah.
something together.
Yeah, they could put something together real quick. You know, that little symbol that everybody uses for COVID. They could stamp that right in there. You know,
just make it an R, or they'll call it the Rona coin.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that's going to become an automatic collector's item and coin people.
Oh, there you go. They're gonna hoard it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
they're
like
gonna think it's worth
they're going to
something.
hoard it. So
Yeah.
it's
Just
not
like the
gonna solve the
Sacagawea.
problem.
I swear to God, there's somebody in my local area that has like a giant knapsack full of Sacagaweas. Because when I worked at a local big box store, this guy always had hands full of
The
them.
most
It's like,
useless coin ever made. I mean, it just it was terrible.
like the Canada has $2 coins and it works well for them. I just
Yeah,
don't know
but
if
you
it
know
works
what they
well
call
for
it,
us.
right?
It's the loony and the toonie.
Toonie.
Leave it to the Canadians to
No,
come up with the right name.
A loony's a 1, a toonie's a 2.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, they got some for the Tim Hortons, So
Jeez, I don't know. I think the only way a dollar coin's going to work is you got to get rid of the paper dollar.
I'm surprised they haven't, to be
Right.
honest.
They keep talking about doing it, but they never do.
Well, the problem is you're going to have
We're
to
gonna
make it.
become like
Well, you're gonna have to make it different sizes because else, if you don't make it different enough, like at physical size, people are going to be throwing away dollars left and right. And I'm just saying that because people are stupid. So yeah.
Well, it's interesting you just say that, because look at the 50-cent coin.
Mhm.
When was the last time you saw one of those?
Years.
And talk about how much
I've
larger.
got a few.
They're huge.
They're huge. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, coins are freaking heavy, man.
Yeah. And that's, 50-cent coin, you put a couple of those together and you can't keep your pants up. I mean, it was not great.
Yeah, I got a buddy who works at I believe a number of banks, and he worked like underground, like the bank secret layer of basically counting.
Yeah.
And he's responsible for all the money that comes in. Well, having obviously a team of people and shit ton of security, but he was telling me, he's like, you've never met anybody in your life that hates coins more than I do. He's like, a stack of coins, you wouldn't believe how much those things weigh.
Oh, I
forget what he told me it was, but one of those old cartoon dollar sign bags and all that, like have to weigh hundreds of pounds.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
Good point. And that may be the reason why that they haven't done it.
I bought my first Xbox in nothing but pennies. So the second one,
dick move.
But it was all rolled, and I did it the next one.
Oh.
I rolled my old change, handed it to the bank, and the lady's like, "How much is in there?" One Xbox. However, my shop teacher in freshman year high school was such a dick. I gave him the $10 in pennies, and they were rolled, so he couldn't say no. He was really pissed at me.
So that explains your report card grades.
No, I failed. I failed electronics in senior year. I failed electronics in senior year.
That's what happens when you do a show with your dad.
No. See, that was a completely different teacher. I actually don't know if that teacher lasted to the end of my high school career. He had this little. What would you used to call him? The rat tails, that little tiny like ponytail.
Oh yeah.
He had this
one of those.
Oh,
I don't remember his name. He had this little tiny ponytail, and he said, and I quote, because I remember this because it made me laugh so much. He's like, when you have long hair like I do, you got to make sure you tuck your hair into your T-shirt. And I'm thinking,
oh, he was a shop teacher.
Shop teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, there's women in this class who legitimately have long hair. What is that?
Well, they're supposed to put it up.
Well, I know, but he said tuck it into your shirt. It's like, you don't have to tuck it into your shirt. It's not long enough.
Was he one of these guys who's mostly bald and then just had that little bit of hair in the back there? Those are the ones that I just can't, they can't give it up.
They're the skull.
The hairline's already back behind their ears.
I don't remember. I remember some of the people in my class, but I don't remember him except for his comment about having long hair. When it's like, dude, a pair of scissors just would take care of that in a second.
I'm thinking I had longer hair than him. And
yes, you did. You had a lot more hair than he did.
And so did Jeremy King. And I mean, I could list a long list of people who had longer hair than that guy.
So he's one of the few people I remember. And had a shop teacher, my electronics teacher actually somehow never got fired. In the middle of class, he'd start proselytizing. It was really weird. He'd be like, and Ohm's law times this, and Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And be like, well, hey, I dig the message as a Christian, and you look around everybody else, and you just all of a sudden, it's like, man, you're preaching to the wrong room, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was the 2000 something, so it's like the early aughts. So it's like, man, you're about 50 years out of date.
Well, I mean, he didn't start singing, what was it, the Jesus is Just All Right song, so we're good.
The weirdest Christian song ever. The lyrics are literally, Jesus is just all right with me. It's like, if you're a Christian, shouldn't it be a little bit more than just all right? Because I say that about the cheap A&W root beer. It's all right.
I mean, did they mean it in the old
a little bit more all right.
Hold on, both of you are talking at the same time, one at a time. James?
Huh?
You first.
Why?
Okay, Ryan, what did you say?
God, neither of them remember. It's that short-term memory loss thing. It's a COVID issue.
No,
watch out.
At least Ryan has a good reason for having a bad memory. It's up in smoke.
No, I was laughing at James's reaction, like what? Why?
Oh.
No, I legitimately did forget what I was going to say, though.
No, I was telling John that he should get the root beer floats.
Okay, Ryan, your turn.
It's not even that funny anymore. I thought they meant it in the just all right, as in like the old timey, like just pumped. That person is just all right, like as in A-OK.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, it makes sense.
It would have if it was for the fact it was DC Talk who came up with this song that I know of.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it sounded like some 1970 shit when you the way I heard the phrase, but it was DC. Okay, yeah.
It maybe it's an older song, but I've only ever heard DC Talk's version of it. So,
no, it's a really old song.
Okay, then Ryan is right then, because when I heard it, I was just like, I'm pretty sure that's insulting. So, old guy, do you have any topics? I see your.
No, I've had topics that come and gone already in this last hour, and it doesn't matter. I was looking at the fact that stocks took a real good rebound today on tech stuff, and that was good.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I wish somebody could explain to me how everybody I know is worried about losing their job, quite literally, except for Ryan. His business is dying and it's taking off. But the stock market's doing amazing. I wish somebody would explain that to me.
It's all profits, man.
Amazon.
It's led by some of the techs. Amazon's one of them, and also by the companies making the vaccines for COVID-19.
I should have put more money in the stock market.
And what was the other one? I don't know. Yeah, well.
Yeah, that's the thing is people are still spending money.
Yeah.
So before
just not coins.
It's not coins.
Bastard.
So before we get going, because we're running up in about 9 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. So do you know anybody who's been affected by the COVID virus? Not the actual virus itself, but an after effect.
What are you talking about?
Like James, for example, being laid off for months.
Oh.
Do you guys know anybody personally?
Yeah, a couple of people. My barber, shit, for one. Let's see here. Damn it, I thought there was somebody else that I knew. But my barber for one had to shut down.
Is he going to be able to start back up, or is he done?
I don't know. It depends on how long they got to shut down. I don't know what his financial status is, but I remember he was back for about 3 weeks because they opened it back up and then they just shut it back down again.
I heard one of the ways around it for barbers is to take the chairs outside, kind of like outdoor dining.
Yeah, I don't know. If there's a workaround like that for them, but
every county's different, so it depends what county he's in and what they're going to allow.
I did hear some counties were banning stuff like that, but they allow outside seating in restaurants. I wasn't sure how exactly that worked.
Yeah, I heard up here from Northern California that is one of the possibilities they're going to go ahead and allow if they want to go work outside in this 95-degree, 100-degree temperature. That's good for them.
Yeah,
supposed to cool down.
Just be like my old barber and drink. What was that? Budweiser Clamato.
I thought you were going to say barbicide.
No, I
didn't drink that, but he might as well have. Yeah, he was pickled enough.
It was as a kid, it didn't bother me because I didn't know any better. As an adult, I thought it was weird. It's like, hold on, let me drink this. Pop, let me cut your hair. And I'm thinking, oh fuck.
The more he drank when he was cutting hair, the more often he would keep dropping his combs. and if you looked into his Barbasol thing with that, there must have been 50 combs in that thing. As the day went on, it was always in that. He had more combs than any barber I'd ever seen.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Poor Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple of people. I mean, my wife, James, there's been a few other people. But up here, there's been a ton of restaurants and other businesses that are closed. Sacramento been open. There was an Italian restaurant that's been open for 100 and something years that closed.
Some of these restaurants were on the verge of closing anyway. And so to be fair.
It was a death nail. I don't know about them, but some of them are.
Yeah. So
okay. So, on my way home today, I went through downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that the Buttercup and Mel's were both closed at about 2:30 this morning, or this afternoon, I mean.
Wow.
So yeah, that's kind of not really a pleasant thing to see. Is those two businesses that have been around for a very long time.
Yeah, neither of which have outdoor seating at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's part of the problem.
Well, actually, Buttercup has a little tiny section that they could do about 5 tables.
Oh, okay.
But
would that
still,
be 5 tables normally or 5 tables now?
That's a good point.
Probably 5 tables now.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I knew that area for a long time. That was employees only. They didn't actually serve out there, but I'm sure they.
Yeah, but they could do it.
They could do it. I can't imagine.
The question for them is, would it be worth it? I mean, would that even cover their overhead? That's a big building.
It's a big building. There's a lot of seating.
It's just like the Mel's, even, it's a pretty big building that even if they cordon off a portion of their parking lot, they'd still have issues. I mean, so that's one of the issues, to see who makes it from this.
Is greenhouse stain open?
Yeah, actually, we were on the cover of the Mountain Democrat today.
Oh, were you? Oh, all right, great.
Yeah, because we were doing the outdoor seating, and they were doing that with a comparison of few restaurants that are not complying. They had that in there as well.
Interesting.
So I generally try in our podcast not to get named too many things of the local area just for security reasons. One of the reasons why, if you don't know,
not due to boring reasons of nobody else out of your area knows what the fuck you're talking about, but due to security reasons. I love it. Actually,
because I've gotten threatened before, I'm very security conscious on that. But there was the Apple Cafe.
I
since
feel
it was
sorry for the person that fucking comes to your house fucking looking for trouble.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't.
Well, the Apple Cafe. Well, fun. They got to find where I live. But
Apple Cafe.
Apple Cafe it'd been all over the news for telling people if they have a mask, get out.
Apple Cafe.
Yeah. They were on KCRA, our local KCRA ABC affiliate, and
that figures.
They've been all over the news. Our local county is actually on the short list of watched counties. Are going to be soon.
It's possible. I just read that we may end up on it. Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, and this is only. So the last time I heard one of the big wigs who know COVID said we're still on first base, or and the way he put it's like, we're still running to first base. We're not on first base yet. So this potentially
wasn't everybody saying that we're opening too soon. I mean, that was the statement that happened here in California. Although he seemed to be, hey, we're going to be cautious, but let's go ahead and open. I
don't think
Cuomo in New York, and I mean,
I think a part of it was they didn't have a choice, because I think what happened is under so much pressure from everybody, because people were losing jobs left and right, even though they said, okay, banks can't take your house back. There's all these people like, well, I'm losing everything. I'm going to be homeless.
I am totally sympathetic of that whole thing. I understand entirely.
I'm saying I don't think he had a choice. I think
he had a choice.
No, well, since politicians, I don't think they did, because since politicians solely care about the ballot box and it being an election year.
My point is, he had a choice, but he listened to, hey, I want another 4 years. That's what he listened to.
Well, I mean,
all right. So I understand. First of all, have you watched this guy? If you're out of Southern California, go watch our Governor Newsom's daily COVID updates, and tell me if you've seen a guy that doesn't like to hear himself talk.
He sounds like a 20-pack a day smoker.
Oh my God, this guy just goes on and on and on and on. Yeah, he's got that raspy kind of. Actually, I got that kind of raspy voice.
No, not like him. He sounds like his voice got blown out.
Anyway.
A fan of his would definitely call him thorough.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
it can be the other word long-winded.
So here's my question: if they fully shut down the state of California again, and say a third of Californians lose their job, what are they going to do? When
maybe they'll take it seriously this time and put on a fucking mask.
When everybody I know pretty much loses everything. And say, for me, example, I lose everything for a second time. What are they going to do? And so I think that's what they're balancing. I think they're balancing the economical need versus
I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, the question is, what do you do? I don't think they can fully shut down for too long because I literally think it's just going to kill.
But I think in this case,
I agree. I think we're past the point of fully shutting down. If we were going to fully shut down, we should have done that shit in the beginning. But we didn't.
I agree.
We half-assed the first shutdown. Nobody took it seriously because it was half-assed. And now we're in this weird perpetual half-assedness.
Well, because last time I've been hearing some economic people, and I have no idea how big or important or smart they are, but they're saying, yeah, we're on the verge of a Great Depression if we're not there already.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was predicted. Day one of this whole shit is like, oh, this is going to suck.
Well, they're saying, I mean, the only thing so far that's keeping us out of that is if you pay attention to the Great Depression, the stock market hasn't tanked, but if nobody has a job, stock market doesn't mean dick. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to do. I always thought that if people took it a little bit more seriously, they could have kept everything open. People wore masks, etc. I think everything would have been a little bit different.
But here's the thing is that you can tell people to wear masks and do all this shit all you want, but very, very few people want to be the Nazi enforcer on it. And I don't mean that in a what's going to sound weird, in a bad way that you would be a Nazi if you enforced it, but that's how you feel you need to be. I did a service the other day on Friday, okay? And it was the first one we've done since freaking March. It felt weird to even put a suit on. We go to this place, and the original agreement, because it was all just like, oh, look, I don't know. I mean, basically, we didn't want to be the ones going against the county guidelines and all this stuff. You know, liability reasons, who knows? It's just nothing we want to get into. And not to mention, you know, we're genuinely, you know, we meet a lot of old people, and I go to a lot of hospitals, so, you know, let's not do crazy shit. But they were told, you know, X amount of people at this particular, you know, church they were going to, and there was triple that number.
Okay.
They were told everybody's got to wear masks and do the whole social distancing thing, but that's pretty much going to be on the church to sort of do that. I'd say half the people were wearing masks. Every single person there hugged every other single person there. You know, so it basically throws all the safety protocols out the window unless you want to be the guy that goes up, you know, and especially like in my capacity, I'm there to just generally facilitate, like, oh, is everything okay? Do you need more coffee? You know, or at the church service, like, oh, okay, now we're heading to the cemetery, folks, is what we'll do, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to be the asshole that's like, all right, you fuckers, you know what I mean? And you stand over here and all this other stuff. And it would just be weird. But I get these businesses who don't want to have the altercation that it turns into every single time somebody comes in bucking the system for one dumb shit reason or another. You know, I can't breathe. Pussy. Hate those people.
I don't know. I mean, eventually they'll be customers. So I don't know what you do. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I thought the way they handled the shutdown.
You want to shop at Costco?
I have.
Okay, so if you want to shop at Costco, it's a mask or you don't get in.
You're going to need cops to enforce that.
They're doing it themselves.
That's the thing is they got that person at the door.
They're not going to
checking your membership, and they're like, "Nah, bro, sorry."
So here's the thing,
and they give you one if you don't have one.
7-Eleven doesn't have that.
Are they going to give people the ability to physically stop them under California law? You cannot restrain people. So what are you going to do? Are you going to hire bouncers to physically throw people out? Because otherwise they're shitty.
It's a privilege to shop there. Okay, so that's the way they look at it.
Well, Costco can cancel your membership, but what about Walmart? Are you going to have the greeter throw you physically out?
Walmart still reserves the right to refuse service to anybody they don't want to do business with.
I worked at Walmart. That's not a real rule. I mean, let's be honest. They say that, but they'll.
Oh, it is if you want to be the guy that enforces it.
Yeah, it's the problem.
That's the thing is that the Walmart greeter is not getting into that shit. You know, the manager's got to be called, and it's going to be a big deal. And then, okay, we're going to call the cops, and you got to wait for the cops to get there.
And the cops don't want to get there because they got to glove up and gown up too. So next thing you do is you call animal control. That they have that stick, you know, that long pole with the strap on it.
Right. Yeah.
That's what you'll be using for throwing people out of stores.
Well,
Then you can social distance and get rid of them.
I can tell you from my experience at big box stores, what's going to happen is the manager's going to say, it's okay, just continue shopping, just, watch out and be careful, because the last thing the management wants to do is make a fuss. And I can tell you that from experience.
I understood, John, but this is an entirely different situation.
No, but what you're not catching, what I'm throwing out is, what do you do? The next step, honestly, the only thing I could think you do is have people physically restrain you, because that's the only thing you could do. If somebody wants to walk in the store and shop, the only thing
I know how to do it.
How?
You shame them.
That doesn't work.
Oh no, that'll work. If you get
tasers,
you get about 6-7 people and keep going around this person, staying at a distance, yelling, "This person's not wearing a mask. Stay away." You'll shame them so crazily, even at Walmart.
At Walmart, you're going to start a toothless fight.
That's okay.
On the positive side, nobody's going to need a dentist.
I got my rabies shot.
But you know what? Look, a lot of
places, they're not going to be a bite.
A couple of Walmarts near me have actually hired a security guard to stand out front. But part of the problem is people don't even know how stupid they're being. Like, they'll walk in with the mask on, and then they'll touch their face and they'll touch everything else, or they'll pull it down to talk to people. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I like that one where the mask is down at their chin.
Or like literally they're wearing it, they'll walk up to you, and then as if they need to pull it down to talk to you.
Yeah, right.
That's when they pull it down and they start speaking words, and you're just like, wow, man, how the fuck did you dress yourself this morning?
So the only thing I could think they could do is just do what Best Buy did. Best Buy shut their store off completely. And basically did what Walmart calls pick up today.
Yeah.
I just don't. The only reason I don't.
They get to that point
because I don't know. I don't know what you can do, because reality is you're not legally allowed to restrain somebody. Even guards, like if you have your guard card, is very limited on what you can do.
Restrain and block is a different story. You can do that hockey block or that basketball block, and just like, hey man, look, you're not going in. I'm not restraining you.
You can pull the shirt over the head and beat him.
Walk out of this store.
You might have to go to turnstile type of situation where either you can get in or you physically can't get. And of course, Walmart people would crawl under it, but
how Walmart people would steal it? What are you talking about?
Well, they try.
No, just because I'm curious on how far it's going to go, because you're going to have to do something, because you always have that one Karen who is just going to say, screw you, and just, beat feet, somehow get around. I am so
tired of the deniers. It's already, come on, people are dropping dead here, and stop denying the fact, and don't think that you're more privileged than everybody else.
Well, the biggest thing I've heard is people don't think it's as bad as it really is. And
That's the biggest thing.
I don't really know. I mean, reality is I don't actually mind wearing a mask now that I found one. I'm just basically wearing a buff because a normal mask is just not comfortable for me, mainly because I can't find one that fits.
No, that works. I mean, that's the whole idea.
So I wear that, and that's fine. I actually got to buy a couple of more. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. The best thing is people generally don't go up and ask me questions, which is really freaking nice.
Well, you're in such a small office. And
no, I meant just when I'm out and about doing things like before, especially.
But you're so personable, John.
Fuck you.
Well, because you don't go to Walmart anymore because you're afraid somebody's going to ask you a question.
I still go to Mart. I still go to that store routinely. I did almost get in a fight because when this first started, somebody was like, close enough to smell what I had for lunch, and it's just like, dude, if you don't back up, I'm just gonna fucking deck you. Just he finally backed up because I was giving him the death stare. It's like
social distancing protocol. Huh?
Yeah, it's like, well, I have a pretty big bubble anyways, being a guy who's 6'5". So
and paranoid.
Hey, at Walmart, if you're not careful, you're gonna lose your wallet. But no, I mean, like, I don't like people that close to me naturally. I have a fairly large bubble.
You're not wrong as far as that goes. That's fine.
Like, I don't need the Disney experience where, everybody's like pretty much right next to me. I don't need that at a Walmart. The smell of meth stinks.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. Wrap it up. Let's go. We've beat this horse so dead. You
There was a
promised to do
horse?
my drop.
You did, John. You did.
Yep.
You promised.
This no, is that one it? No. This one might be it. Let's see. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the California Pride, Jonathan Charney, James the Fat Man Stevens, Ryan Nowhere Preston, and the old guy.
You're listening to the Rob.
Yeah, you almost got it.
As always, thank you for listening.
Goodbye.